What's up, guys? KAMIKAZE-FOX coming to you from HTA RL, Hit the Apex Racing League. This is the Assists Series, Round 9, Canada, F1 2019 on the PS4 platform. And we are waiting on a few more drivers to join in, but right now we've got 15 drivers for today's Grand Prix. We're going to do an 18-minute short qualifying session followed by a 50% race. Run down the driver lineup here as we've got Ben Gallagher in the Mercedes. Gad is what we call the next driver. He's in the Red Bull. Epic the Animal in the Renault. Sippy's going to be rocking the Alfa Romeo today. Invictus in the Racing Point. Q-Tip, your two-time Formula One HTA RL champion, is going to be rocking the Williams. SHR Ninja is back for another race today in the McLaren, along with Fozzie Wazzie. David Wallbank will be in the Ferrari. Try and Catch in the Haas. Callum Anderson rocking the Toro Rosso. Khalifa in the other Mercedes. Championship points leader V. Rita in the Racing Point. Championship contender KCG in the other Alfa Romeo. Salmon Pike in the Ferrari. And then Ozone Zero, not in a car yet, but he will be racing today. And he's coming off of a 6th place finish earlier today in the SRL 2.4 hours of Spa. So good for him on that. See if we can keep that momentum going later today. And of course, I am KAMIKAZE-FOX, your commentator for today's race. I am often accompanied by Ozone Leaston, but no sign of him as of yet for today's race, so it might just be me again. But we're getting ready to do a round 9 here at Canada, and coming off of last week's race, that was round 8 at Britain Silverstone. Quite an exciting race. V. Rita took home his 4th pole position of the season, along with his 5th win. Khalifa picked up his 2nd podium of the season, while Q-Tip managed to come across in 3rd, picking up his 3rd podium of the season. Nola, Epic the Animal, Salmon Pike, Carbon Khan, Cowie, Harry Saunders, and Fozzie Wazzie rounding out your top 10 points paying positions, while Try and Catch, AB53 Mo were 11th and 12th. And then 13th through 17th were all DNFs. That was Enrique Perez, Captain O'Reilly, Callum Anderson, Invictus, and David Wallbank. And unfortunately for Wallbank, that was his league-leading 4th DNF of the season. So he will be looking forward to finishing a race today, put some points on the board, hopefully, as the season moves forward. And as we wait for a couple more drivers just to join in, be sure to tune in next week, as we will be going to Canada for round 10 as this season winds down. Let's see here. Looks like it's a 13 race schedule. We'll be at France next week, Baku the week after that, then Japan, and then we'll finish the season out at Brazil. And obviously championship contenders KCG and V. Reed have been going back and forth most of the season, swapping the points lead. So a couple of rounds ago at Austria, it was a big day for Khalifa, where he walked away with his 1st win of the season, but KCG was able to take the points lead in round 7 at Austria because V. Rita had a very rare DNF. It's his only DNF that he's had all season. Then last week, round 8, V. Rita walks away with the pole and the win. KCG did not attend the race, so KCG loses the points lead. So those two have been battling it back and forth all season. KCG actually won the first race of the season back at round 1 at Bahrain. Quickly, V. Rita, though, he won in Monza and then backed it up at Spa. That was 2 wins in a row. Then he had a 3rd win at Australia. Then he won again at the Circuit of the Americas, and then obviously again last week. KCG's been fairly consistent, though, finishing on the podium most of his races. Just nipping at the heels of V. Rita. KCG, in fact, 6 podiums to date, one of them being a win so far this year. So it looks like we might have had another driver join in. See if I can figure out who that was. Harry Saunders. Harry Saunders, who has shown some speed so far this year. He's finished 9th in the last 2 races. That was round 7, round 8, but he has shown a little bit of speed. He was 5th back at Circuit of the Americas. He did have a pole earlier this year, round 4 at Hockenheim. Unfortunately, he did not finish there. He was actually 14th in that race. So Good to see Harry Saunders back with us in the Toro Rosso. Chaz Meister is Charlie Sampson. They'll be rocking the Red Bull. So that'll give us 18 drivers for today's race. And as I said, we're going to do an 18-minute short qualifying session followed by a 50% race. And while you're here, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment to the YouTube channel. Check out the other races throughout the course of the season. Get caught up on all those races. Plus, you can check out the HTA RL, that's Hit the Apex Racing League Elite League. That is for the guys that run no assists. That is for the big boys. Today, it's the Assist League. There's no limit as to what you can run. Full traction control, no traction control, ABS, racing line, whatever the case may be. But you do have to run some sort of assist through the course of the season. So, Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve here at Canada, the semi-permanent circuit here through the public park in Montreal. Named after, of course, the six-time Grand Prix winner Gilles Villeneuve tragically lost his life in 1982. Father to 1997 Formula One champion Jacques Villeneuve. And it should be said, Jacques Villeneuve is one of the very few drivers throughout the course of history who's won a Formula One championship and an Indianapolis 500. He's also won in just about every other type of automobile racing that he's competed in, whether it be from NASCAR to IndyCar to Formula One. He's won in everything along the way. And Epic the Animal on the live chat says I should be Fox's favorite because America. I don't know if Epic's trying to say he's American or because Canada's close to America. I will say I don't like the circuit of the Americas, that's for sure. But I am fond of Epic the Animal. He's been very consistent. He's sitting third in points. Could be a bit of a dark horse as this season winds down. It looks like we've got rain for the qualifying session. Should make things a little interesting. The Great Equalizer showing its ugly face. Try and catch coming across the PSN chat saying it's wet. I think everybody knows. And Invictus saying it's going to be a wet race. So looks like everybody is going to be going with the intermediates. Q-Tip's the first one out. And we've already got a bunch of drivers on the PSN chat very upset that it is wet. So the Great Equalizer being a factor here in qualifying. We'll see if it shakes up the grid order a little bit. Guys going out on their outlet. Looks like we've got Q-Tip who we're following currently. SHR Ninja. Codemaster's done great with the camera work here. He's followed by David Wallbank in the Ferrari. And Epic the Animal. So we'll see who benefits from the wet. And KCG, we're going to keep an eye on him. Looks like he's the only driver right now. He's sitting in the pits, but he's the only driver who's fitted wet tires, full wets to his car. Everybody else is on the intermediates. And we're going to pick up Q-Tip. He's coming through the last chicane, the wall of champions down the front stretch. He's going to be the first one on a hot lap. We'll see what he can do. Q-Tip, obviously one of a very good driver. As I said earlier, he's a two-time HTA Formula One champion. He hasn't participated in every single race this year, but the ones that he has participated in, he's capitalized on. He's got 3 podium finishes to his credit. He's still looking for that first win this year, I believe. Down into the infamous hairpin where Robert Kubica had his gnarly crash back in 2007, I believe. Amazingly walked away with nothing but a broken ankle. Did you see a little bit of a racing line? Q-Tip's going to come across the line. He's going to set the first time of the day here in the wet. 14:40 left to play in the session. And he's going 1:23.88. And we'll see who comes across the line next as the times will start to drop. Looks like SHR Ninja with a 1:21.9. And David Wallbank, 1:21.6. And KCG did not stay on those full wets. He's actually on an outlap on the intermediates. So 3 drivers have set times. We'll pick up Epic the Animal. He's going to be the next one across the line, but he's got an invalidated lap time. Probably going to be a lot of that going around today. We'll pick up V Rita as he's coming out of the hairpin and down the very long backstretch. Looks like he was purple in Sector 2. Rita coming out of the Wall of Champions complex. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 3. It looks like that might be one of the Ferraris. V Rita to the top of the charts by a second. 1:19.378. We'll try and pick up that Ferrari and see who it was. Nope, looks like it's Salmon Pike is going around. And he's got a little bit of wing damage and he's struggling to get the car straightened up, so ruined whatever lap he had going. Here comes, looks like that might be Epic coming through. So Epic the Animal, and once again he has invalidated his lap time, so he's still unable to set a lap. And he's going to dive into the pit, so is Salmon Pike. We'll pick up Ozone Zero. As I said, Ozone made his SRL debut here earlier today. I raced with him at the 2.4 hours of Spa in the GT3 series on Project Cars 2. He walked away with a 6th place finish in today's endurance race, so good on him. And Harry Saunders is retired from the session. And I do see a yellow flag back in Sector 3. That could be where he was at, and Saunders is not going to set a time, so he'll be starting at the end of the field. And as I was saying and talking about Ozone and Saunders retiring, Ozone Zero goes second quickest, 1:23.34. Still a second off of V Rita's best time, but a great qualifying effort by Zero in the Haas F1 machine. So 12 minutes left to play in the session. We've only had 6 drivers set a time. Ooh, and Ozone very wide coming out of that corner. Looks like he might be off the pace a little bit. We'll see if we can pick up KCG. And a yellow flag in Sector 1. That's a quick off on. It looks like it might be another Ferrari. Is that Salmon Pike again? Nope, Salmon's in the pit, so that is... looks like that was David Wallbank. Looks like he's struggling with the grip as well. So we'll pick up KCG as he comes across the line. I'm sorry, that's not... he's not coming across the line. This is the back section of the track. Now he's going to come across the line. And KCG 1:22.62. My goodness, does anybody have anything for V Rita, who set a time at a 1:19.373? Still 9/10 of a second quicker. Than KCG, his closest competitor. So we got a lot of guys on outlaps now. Looks like Callum Anderson is on a time lap, but it has been invalidated. So now there's a lot of chatter going on the PSN chat about some of these drivers with their inability to race in the wet. But I mean, unfortunately, that is a part of the game. Weather's set to dynamic, just like it would be in real life. You got to figure you're going to come across. You're going to come across a wet race at some point. PMP try and catch is not going to be able to set a time. His time has been invalidated. Pick up Ben Gallagher. Ben Gallagher's had a bit of a topsy-turvy season. He too has shown flashes of speed. And now look at this V Rita here, 119.175. Just to add insult to injury to all these other drivers trying to see if they can even crack into the 119s. He is now 1.1 seconds faster than his closest competitor, KCG. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 2. That's Salmon Pike. Looks like he's retired from the session. And that is going to be two drivers now that are not going to set a time. Harry Saunders, Salmon Pike, both retiring into qualifying. 9 minutes left to play. We're currently watching Ben Gallagher coming down the backstretch. See if he dives in here. Through the wall of champions. And Gallagher across the line with a 1:23.57. Great qualifying effort by him. And now second, third, fourth, and fifth, and sixth, because Khalifa has shown his face, 1:24.23. So second through sixth is only separated by 0.2 of a second. That is some unbelievable. Meanwhile, V Rita, 1:19.175. Now he's invalidated this particular lap time. We'll see if he dives into the pits. And he does. So we're going to pick up Invictus, who is yet to set a time as well. You can definitely see a definitive racing line there in some of these sections of track. And even on the nose cam, you can see the difference between the racing line and when you get off of it a little bit, just how that sheen of water on top of the track. And we've got yellow flag sector 2 and 3. Looks like that is going to be the Ferrari. That would be David Wallbank, I would imagine. He was letting the other two drivers go by. They were on a flying lap. So we'll pick Invictus back up. And he's got an Alfa Romeo behind him. I'm not sure if that's Sippy or KCG on another lap. But we're going to stick with Invictus, see what kind of time he can set. He hasn't set one yet. Yellow flag flies, sector 2 and 3 again. And Invictus comes across the line, 1:22 flat, good enough to bump himself up to the 10th spot. And Khalifa has now cracked into the 119s, 119.708. As we said earlier, he had a pole position back in Bahrain to kickstart the season, and then he picked up that great win a couple of rounds ago at Austria. So good on him, showing some good speed here today. 0.6 of a second off of V Rita. So it looks like we'll pick up Fozzie Wazzie. And she is coming down the backstretch now. Struggling through the chicane, but she's going to come across the line. Hopefully she can set a time. And 1:31.862, so she's struggling in the wet. She blows the first corner. Let's get some lap data up here for everybody to look at as well. So she is currently 12th quickest. We'll pick up Try and Catch. Try and Catch has yet to set a time. So still a number of drivers who have not set times. We've got Try and Catch, Epic the Animal, Charlie Sampson, and Sippy have all yet to set times. Salmon Pike and Harry Saunders are not going to set times because they're retired from the race. We've got B3NNI SKM in the live chat saying Forza PMP. That's currently who we're watching is PMP Try and Catch. So, Skimma rooting on his PMP fellow. Down into the hairpin. And he's invalidated his time, so PMP Try and Catch will not set a time this time by. So we'll pick up V Rita. Your provisional pole sitter. Oh, and Khalifa just went 118.8. V Rita 117.9. So these guys are swapping blows here. And the track seems to be coming to life a little bit with 4 minutes left to play in the session and might be drying out a little bit, getting a little bit of a racing line. So good on Khalifa, and that's 5 laps old tires right there that he set that on, a 118.8. 9/10 of a second quicker goes V Rita with a 117.926. Ozone Zero has now gone 119.1, so the times are starting to drop. As I say, we'll pick up Invictus. It looks like Invictus is off the pace. Looks like he's letting some of the other cars go through. So we'll pick up Q-Tip. Q-Tip started off the qualifying session. He was fastest for a few laps until V Rita came along and decided to crack it on the 119s. Q-Tip kicked it off with a 123.88. And as you can see, now 4th through 9th is all separated by 4/10 of a second. We've got one driver in the 117s, that's V Rita, your provisional pole sitter. One driver in the 118s, Khalifa, trying to do his best to catch him. Then you've got one driver in the 119s, that's Ozone Zero with a 119.1. Meanwhile, it's David Wallbank is the fastest driver beyond those top 3. He's the fastest driver in the 120s with a 120.060. And now Q-Tip was fastest in Sector 2. Actually, I guess that's Sector 1. He was fastest in Sector 1. Q-Tip's got a good run going. He's going to come across with a 118.991, improves his time. He's up to 3rd quickest now. Bumps Ozone Zero. We'll pick up KCG. KCG is on a flyer. He's 7/10 of a second up on his previous time. So it looks like we might have a little bit of a shootout as this comes down here. Now we've got Nipro racing on the live chat, also cheering on PMP try and catch. Oh, and SHR Ninja is retired from the session. His time will be locked in at a 119.1. Ben Gallagher just went 2nd quickest with a 118 flat. Currently watching KCG. His time is winding down and the track is heating up. And Q-Tip has retired from the session. He's going to call it a day. KCG comes across the line with a 118.450. That puts him 3rd quickest. That's 1.8 seconds quicker than his previous time. Meanwhile, V Rita is currently on an out lap, so he looks like he's going to try and make a last-ditch effort, put another knuckle in the back of the drivers here today, put a stamp on this qualifying session. And he'll come across the line with 30 seconds left to play, so his flying lap will count. But who is behind him? PMP trying to catch his 13th quickest. He hasn't set a time. He's just now starting his last-ditch effort. Epic the Animal coming across the line, starting his one and only lap of this qualifying session that I've seen. We've got Sippy who's yet to set a time, and now the time is up, so times are going to be locked in. Invictus is locked in at a 125.74. Fozzie Wozzie 131.862. Charlie Sampson did not set a time, so he'll be starting in the back of the grid. So here comes So that was try and catch. Here comes KCG. Or that wasn't try and catch. Maybe these guys aren't rooting for try and catch. They might actually be rooting for KCG. But either way, PMP fellows rooting on their teammates. Oh, and Khalifa goes to the top of the charts. 117.896. Where is V Rita? Rita comes across with a 117.716 at the last second. Snatches it away. We'll pick up Ozone Zero. His time is invalidated, so that's not going to do him any good. Where is Epic the Animal? Epic's coming across the line now. Epic with a 118.738. So what a qualifying session. And congratulations to V Rita on his 5th pole position of the season. And I got to give mad props to Khalifa, really trying to stick it to him. So here's your starting position. V Rita with another pole position. Khalifa starting in 2nd. Ben Gallagher with a great effort starting in 3rd. KCG 4th. Epic the Animal will be starting 5th. David Wallbank is 6th. Q-Tip is 7th. Gad is 8th. Ozone Zero drops to 9th. SHR Ninja is 10th. Callum Anderson 11th. Sippy could only muster out a 12th place. 13th will be Invictus. Fozzie Wazzie is the slowest of the ones that set a time. She'll be 14th. And then Try and Catch, Chaz Meister, Salmon Pike, Harry Saunders rounding out 18 drivers for today's race. Those 4 did not set a time. And we will wait for this to reset here. And the question on everyone's mind is, do we have a wet race? And it looks like we're going to have at least a wet start. It doesn't look like it's very heavy right now. Light rain. The sky's a little light, so this might break up and might turn into a dry race as it goes on. But for now, it looks like we'll be starting on at least the intermediate tires. So the great equalizer showing its ugly face in qualifying and for the start of this race. It looks relatively light, could clear up. So we'll wait for the game to reset. We'll do ourselves a nice quality warm-up lap. Or formation lap, I should say. And then we'll kick off this 50% race. Round 9 here at Canada. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve for the HTA RL. Hit the Apex Racing League. This is the assists tier. Now it looks like we've got a lot of guys on slicks. Wow, look at that. Nobody's going to take a gamble on the intermediates. As I said, the rain was relatively light, so V Rita with his 5th pole position of the season. He'll be looking for his 6th win of the season as he starts out front today. Khalifa starting in 2nd spot. Great qualifying effort by him. He'll be looking to try and snatch that win away from V Rita, and hopefully he can walk away with his 2nd win of the season. Ben Gallagher is looking for a podium. His best starting position of the year so far, starting in 3rd on the medium tires. He's got KCG championship contender 2nd in the points. He's going to be looking to snatch another podium, make it 7 podiums on the year if he can. And Epic the Animal, the dark horse in the championship, running 3rd in points. He'll be starting in 5th. We'll see if he can muster out a podium finish today. And David Wallbank leading the league in DNFs with 4. He'll be looking to score some points and finish today for sure. Q-Tip, the 2-time F1 champion here in HTA RL. He'll be looking to work his way through the field, put some points on the board, and maybe muster out a podium finish if he can. Gad is going to be starting in 8th. He'll be looking to score points as well. And Ozone Zero making his HTA RL debut in the Haas. He'll be starting in 9th. See if he can finish in the points along with SHR Ninja. Callum Anderson will be starting in the 11th spot as we see one of the Alfa Romeos go around. Looks like that might have been Sippy. Sippy is going to be starting in the 12th spot. He'll be looking to try and work his way into that top 10 if he can. Invictus starting in 13th, which seems to be his usual qualifying spot for him in this league. Fozzie Wazzie will be starting in 14th. Now, she ran the slowest in the wets, but if the track dries out, maybe she can muster her way into another points-paying position. PMP Try and Catch did not set a time. He'll be starting in the 15th spot along with Charlie Sampson, Salmon Pike, and Harry Saunders. And Saunders, who will be rounding out your top 18 drivers for today's Formula One Grand Prix. Round 9 here at Canada. So the two front runners are starting on these soft tires. Then it's mediums all the way back to 12th, where Sippy will be on the hards. And then you've got Salmon Pike and Charlie Sampson running softs in 16th and 17th. Should be an interesting couple of opening laps with the weather. So we wait for the 5 red lights. Lights are out. Time to run what you brung, and they're away in a slightly puffy smoke. And a good start for Ben Gallagher. And Khalifa falls through the field. He gets a little bit of contact. It looks like we had a McLaren go blowing off course. That was SHR Ninja. I don't know what that was about. Completely missed the breaking point. He's all the way down into 17th. Took his teammate with him. She's down in 18th. Q-Tip's already moved up a spot, but he's off track. KCG's lost a couple of spots. And we've got a mess back here mid-pack. This is David Wallbank and Q-Tip. And now look at this. Gad trying to get a 2-for-1 deal, trying to sneak his way in. I'm sorry, that's Caleb Anderson trying to get the 2-for-1 deal. He can only muster out one of them spots. Oh, and there's a contact there. Q-Tip looks like he got pushed wide. Cuts back onto the track. Dangerous re-entry. Callum Anderson going to the outside. It looks like Anderson's going to try and outbreak them. They both go very wide. Here comes David Wallbank, and Wallbank trying to snatch it. Looking for that 2-for-1 deal. Can't get it. And this is going to be a mess coming down into the chicane and the Wall of Champions complex. Oh, my goodness. They all come through. It looks like bits of wing falling off. KCG's managed to work his way back up into third. Ben Gallagher trying to nip at the heels of V. Rita. I don't know if Gallagher's got the long run speed that V. Rita has, but so far so good here on lap 2. Now these two have pulled away to a 3-second gap over KCG. Epic the Animal running in 4th. Khalifa started 2nd, has dropped all the way to the 5th spot. And Q-Tip has been having a heck of a day. Oh no, that's David Wallbank has gone around. I don't know if he had help or it was just a product of slick tires on a wet track. You see the rain is still coming down. These guys taking their chances on slick tires. Looks like Try and Catch has just got his way around Gad for the 8th spot. And look at this train of cars. It's 8th, 9th, and 10th. Terry Saunders going to try and dive to the inside. Oh, they all outbreak each other. And again, this looks like it could be a very hairy situation heading down into the chicane of the Wall of Champions complex. Oh, and a good move. Looks like by Saunders. Harry Saunders picked up a couple of spots there. And it looks like Gad's going to lose out on another spot. Here comes Ozone Zero. Oh, and Gad runs very wide. Misses the breaking point. Oh, and Sippy's retired from the session. What has happened to Sippy? And it looks like that's going to be on the front stretch. Or has Sippy retired in the pits? Meanwhile, back to the action. So it looks like we're on lap 3. Looks like the DRS is enabled, so the rain is not significant enough to garner the DRS disabled. And KCG just picked up a 3-second time penalty. And he's got Epic the Animal nipping at his heels. We've got yellow flags flying sector 2 and 3. What has happened back there? Looks like that might be Harry Saunders. Oh, and Saunders has got some wing damage there. The left front end plate gone on that car. He's dropped now down in the 13th spot. Meanwhile, we go back to this battle for third. This is KCG. He's being pursued by Epic the Animal, and Epic is being pursued by Khalifa here in the Mercedes. So a pretty intense opening 4 laps so far of this 35-lap event. Oh, and you can hear the tires squealing on Khalifa's car. Trying to get the power down, trying to hit his braking points. Going to jump back to Callum Anderson. Anderson closing in on Q-Tip. And it looks like Fozzie Wazzie is making a move. No, Fozzie's going around Harry Saunders. Saunders into the pits. So Fozzie moves up into the third spot. Looks like she's continuing to struggle with the dry tires in the wet scenario. But she is up to 13th spot. David Wallbank just picked up a 3-second time penalty. Looks like he's gotten around his teammate Salmon Pike. These two battling it out. And looks like Wallbank's going to go to the inside. I'm sorry, that's Salmon Pike going to the inside. Oh, and Invictus is retired from the session. Looks like he's crashed out, and we've got ourselves a full course yellow. Safety car is out. Yellow, yellow, yellow for Invictus, who crashed out in Sector 2. It looks like we've got quite a few guys jumping into the pits. Now, it's still continuing to rain a little bit. In fact, let's get an onboard shot here. We'll look at the front of V Rita at the Mercedes AMG safety car. And you can see the rain is still coming down. Track temperature is going to be low. And the rain is coming down at a fairly steady pace. A lot of guys staying out on slick tires. Now, Ozone Zero looks like he's the only driver that has switched over to intermediate tires. So he is going to be a key driver to watch. He's currently running in 12th. That's coming out of the pits now. He's got the intermediates. He's the only driver on the intermediates. And that's not true. It looks like Charlie Sampson just switched over to the intermediate tires as well in the Red Bull. So those two guys are going to be key. If they start picking up time on the intermediate tires, then it might be time for these guys to switch over. Now, they only got 4 laps on their tires. These guys have been running up front with the slicks. Now, track temperature is down. They're going to have a couple of safety car laps, so they're going to be able to save those tires. But a real interesting opening. 5 laps. Lots of shuffling for position, and it looks like Rita has dived into the pits. That's an interesting strategy. Oh no, we've got ourselves a migrating host, which is bad news bears. Sippy has left the session. Usually when there's a migrating host, the lobby becomes glitched. So hopefully by Sippy leaving, it doesn't ruin it for everybody. Oh my goodness, and everybody is picking up yellow. They're picking up 5-second time penalties for ignoring a yellow flag. Looks like everybody's getting a 5-second penalty for ignoring a yellow flag. I'm going to imagine that has something to do with the migrating host. So this is getting weird. So V Rita, it should be said, we did see him dive into the pits. He has switched over to medium tires, so he's staying on slicks. He's not switching to intermediates. Oh, we just saw Ferrari behind him. That's Salmon Pike. He just clipped the wall in the wet, and now he's got himself end plate damage on the left front part of the wing. So things getting a little odd here with Sippy leaving and creating a migrating host. It looks like there was a couple of drivers that picked up illegal overtakes on drivers that were already in the pit. There was drivers that got 5-second time penalties for ignoring a yellow flag. So, multitude of issues going on. And Codemasters at its finest. All right, so let's try and reset this here a little bit for you. Ben Gallagher is currently your leader. He's followed by Casey G and Epic the Animal. Those are your top 3 runners. David Wallbank has somehow managed to get his way up into 4th. Callum Anderson is 5th. Try and Catch is 6th. Q-Tip is 7th, and Gad is 8th. Now, V Rita was your leader. He dived into the pits, swapped off the soft tires for the mediums, came out in 9th. Ozone Zero is currently in 10th. He's the first driver on intermediates. He's followed by Khalifa, who started in the second spot. He is now fallen back into 11th. He has pitted. SHR Ninja looks like he's running in 12th. Fozzie Wazzie still running in the 13th spot. She continues to struggle a little bit. Harry Saunders has dropped all the way back to 14th. Now Charlie Sampson and Salmon Pike are the other two drivers on intermediates. And you see Salmon Pike has got his wing fixed. He threw on the intermediate. So hopefully... There it is. There it is. That's what we wanted to see. Race control. Safety car is in this lap. That means Ben Gallagher will become the control car. Remember, guys, you can't pass before the start-finish line. All too often I see guys making that mistake. And it looks like Gallagher is getting on the gas. Remember, don't pass before the start-finish. Oh, and Casey G slides the back end out on that Alfa Romeo. Almost clips the wall of champions. And now he's got Epic the Animal breathing down his neck. Here comes David Wallbank going to try and get to the inside. He gets to the inside of Epic. He blows the corner. Epic's going to come back around to the outside. And there's contact between Try and Catch and who was that? Callum Anderson in the 5th spot. And there's more contact. And through all that, David Wallbank works his way up into the 3rd spot. Oh my goodness, and Callum Anderson just gave Epic the Animal a NASCAR-style bump and run, and now Epic's got to sit there and wait for the cars to drive through. There goes Fozzie Wazzie. So Callum Anderson moves into 4th and gives a good old chrome horn to the rear of Epic's car. And something has happened to Ozone Zero. Look out the back of his car, and he's getting passed by Epic, and Epic is on a tear, getting around. And it looks like Fozzie Watts is just getting out of the way. She knows she's having a hard time in the wet, so she's doing the right thing, but I commend her for staying with it, staying on track, keeping in the race. Good on her. Never give up. Because honestly, you don't know what's going to happen. This race has been pretty wild so far. We've already got 2 DNFs, plus a safety car. A lot could happen. Try and Catch trying to work his way back towards the front. We get this 3-wide battle going through turns 1 and 2, and that's not going to work for a lot of these guys. Try and Catch saves the car. Looks like the back end kicked out on it. A lot of battles around track now. So Ben Gallagher, your leader. Casey G trying to close in on him. He's within the 1-second DRS range. David Wallbank is now 3 seconds back from that, but he's got Callum Anderson all over the back of him. Back from that, you've got Q-Tip and V. Rita. Rita has worked his way into the 6th spot after starting 9th on the restart. SHR Ninja is now up to the 7th spot, but there's a clump of cars behind him. That's Gad, Try and Catch, and Khalifa. That's 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. I'm sorry, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Oh, and Gad runs really wide coming out of there. And Rita is going around Q-Tip. They're side by side. It's a drag race down the backstretch. Looks like Rita got the better exit, but he's not going to be able to get in front of him. And 5-second time penalty for Art Senna. 25, or Art Senna 12. That's David Wallbank. Uh-oh, and somebody's into the wall. That's Try and Catch. We can't get a good look at it. And virtual safety car for that. So we'll see if we can see it on Fozzie Wazzie's. There you see Try and Catch into the wall, tiptoeing her way through the Wall of Champions complex. So Try and Catch, that is one PMP driver down. Virtual safety car is out, if you will, deployed, whatever you want to call the virtual safety car. Now, if there's one thing I've learned in this game, virtual safety cars generally don't last long, so be on your toes, guys. And DRS is enabled. We're back to green, green, green. And KCG is closing in on Ben Gallagher. And with the DRS enabled, he is going to be able to have that DRS slide open. The rain's still continuing to come down. These guys still rocking it out on the slick tires. Here comes KCG with a head of steam. Blows down the backstretch. Oh, but look at this. Oh, okay. Never mind. Ben Gallagher is going to dive into the pits. I thought he was going to try and outbrake him there for a second. So Gallagher is going to fall into the pits while Callum Anderson takes over the second spot. A bit of a controversial one after making contact with Epic the Animal. Epic is now down into the 9th spot. So you got a couple of guys that have dived into the pits. Ben Gallagher, Gad, David Wallbank, all pitting, switching over. Looks like Ben Gallagher is going to come out on hard tires. And he comes out in this clump of cars. Epic the Animal running a 9th. Fonzie Wozzy gets a 5-second time penalty for exceeding the track limits. And she's up to 15th. Sticking with it. I mean, if the cars keep dropping out the way they have been, she could find herself in a points paying position. So we hop on board with V Rita. Charlie Sampson's just picked up a 3-second time penalty. V Rita all over the back of Q-Tips Williams. These two are still battling it out. Ooh, and a big lockup on the right front from V Rita. Oh, and listen to that wheel spin. Trying to get that power back down. And he's just dragging the rear wheels with him. He gets a good run, though. He's got the DRS slot open. And it looks like Rita is going to have it this time. He's going to take over the 3rd spot from Q-Tip. But he picks up a 3-second time penalty in the midst of it. Now KCG has just dived into the pits. So that hands over the lead to Callum Anderson, and another huge lockup from V Rita as we ride on board. Callum Anderson blows the second corner. And we've got ourselves another virtual safety car. And it looks like this is for SHR Ninja. Oh, and it looks like that is the Wall of Champions again. There it is, claiming another victim. So Fozzie Wozzy will come around to pick up another spot. But this time, unfortunately, it is from her teammate, SHR25 Ninja. Now, the car has been cleared as she goes through the Wall of Champions complex. She moves into 14th. And with the car gone, we should be going back to green any second now. And DRS is enabled. Green, green, green. Callum Anderson is off and running. He's got V Rita in hot pursuit, 1.3 seconds behind him. Q-Tip is 2 seconds behind that. Khalifa moving in, though, on Q-Tip for that 3rd spot. Meanwhile, you've got Harry Saunders getting around David Wallbank at the hairpin, but Wallbank is going to have that DRS advantage, I think. And these guys are side by side heading down this long back straightaway. It's a drag race, but Wallbank with that DRS going to be able to get back in front, take that 10th spot back away from Harry Saunders, and finds himself back in the points once again. Meanwhile, Khalifa working all over the back of Q-Tip's car. Rain continuing to fall, lap 13 of 35. These guys are running on a semi-wet track with the rain coming down. They're running on slicks. And a big lock up there. From Khalifa. I'm going to put some lap data up here. I want to see what the lap time is. As Khalifa makes the move on Q-Tip. And we saw these guys were running like 117s in the wet conditions. And it looks like their Khalifa's going to come across the line. 123. Now, KCG's run the fastest lap of this race in a 121.68. That's on medium tires, and he is currently in the 4th spot. And Gadd picks up a 3-second time penalty. It looks like Callum finally pitted from the top spot, so that hands the lead back over to V. Rita, your championship points leader, being pursued by Khalifa, who's just gotten around Salmon Pike. Now, Salmon finds himself running in 3rd on intermediates, so he hasn't lost a whole lot of time. And we've got Epic is making a move on Ben Gallagher. Well, Epic working his way back through the field after he got hit by Callum Anderson all those laps ago. Fell all the way back to, I think at the time was 16th position. But through the safety cars and the virtual safety cars and hard racing, he's managed to work his way back into the 5th spot. Fozzie Wozzie just picked up a 5-second time penalty for speeding into the pit lane. Really inconsequential as to where she'll finish, as she is running in the 14th spot. She is the last remaining car running. And it looks like Epic is finally going to pit Khalifa, Salmon Pike, so that moves KCG. So KCG up in the 2nd, so that makes 1st and 2nd in the championship, also 1st and 2nd on the track. Khalifa coming out of the pits, going to be in the 3rd spot. Great timing on the pit strategy. Salmon Pike able to come out in 4th, and Callum Anderson and David Wallbank side by side. Wallbank ran wide, had the tires in the grass, trying to get that power down. And Ben Gallagher, what's going on here? Harry Saunders. Saunders is going around. Yellow flag, sector 1. The car is Ghost. And there he goes. He's going to get it going again here. And Harry Saunders is going to leave the session. That, my friends, is a bona fide, good old-fashioned rage quit. And I despise them. You're better than that, Harry. Q-Tip gets around Callum Anderson, and David Wallbank just picked up a 3-second time penalty. So for what it's worth, Harry Saunders' car is going to go AI. And that's going to be a lot slower than the rest of the field. Fozzie Wozzie will be able to find herself in the 13th spot here in a couple laps. And I like pointing that out because Fozzie Wozzie is in a quest for a championship point. I like that. She's finished 10th a couple times this season, so good on her. David Wallbank, 10-second time penalty for corner cutting. And he must have cut the chicane there at the Wall of Champions big time. And Callum Anderson is caught up to him. And it looks like Wallbank has got some end plate damage on the right front part of that wing. Check out the helicopter view here. Oh my goodness, and Callum Anderson with another bump and run style hit to the rear of David Wallbank's Ferrari. He did the same thing to Epic the Animal. Oh, and Wallbank says, if you're going to push me, I'm going to push back. And Anderson just glitched really bad. He's back on the middle of the track. And now Anderson finds himself behind Epic the Animal. And remember, this was the one that started it all. This Anderson hit Epic. Oh, look at this. Anderson is going to blow through the corner. 3-second time penalty. Epic the Animal going around the outside. This is a three-way battle. Epic goes around the outside of Wallbank, closes in on Ben Gallagher. What I want to watch here is these two guys here, Callum Anderson, David Wallbank. These guys. Oh, and Wallbank just blows the corner. What? Puts Epic into the wall. And David Wallbank, showing shades of his former self, It should be said, Wallbank and Anderson, I believe, have both been banned from multiple leagues, multiple occasions, for what we would say is a little bit of overzealous driving. As Anderson cuts the grass again. I mean, these two aren't even really racing at this point. These two are just fighting amongst each other. And Anderson finds himself put into the wall once again as he tries to tried to take out David Wallbank. So, and really, Epic the animal, I got to hand it to Epic. This guy has been running good all season. He's been running third in the points. He's a good driver. He's a fast driver. He's been the dark horse all season. If something happened to the top two in the championship point standings, Epic could easily take this. But he's gotten the short end of the stick a couple times today because of Anderson and now David Wallbank and Anderson again. And really, he's fallen all the way back through the field. He worked his way back up into the top 5. He's now fallen back down to the 7th spot. He's got wing damage. And Calvin Anderson picks up a 5-second time penalty for speeding into the pit lane. Now would be a good time for somebody to rage quit, and it should be David Wallbank, it should be Calvin Anderson. Those two should be off the track for the rest of this race. Epic, keep the drive going. You're running in 7th. Unbelievable what we're seeing here on the track today. It looks like Anderson and Wallbank have both pitted. Now, Senna is on the intermediates, and I don't know why I care, because he's just going to crash into somebody. Perhaps the rain is starting to fall a little harder now, and it looks like V. Rita has pitted for intermediate, so he's going to be our staple. Just come out of the pits onto the intermediate tires. So V. Rita has come out of the pits. Him and Khalifa now on the intermediate tires as the rain starts to come down a little bit harder now. Casey G staying out on those medium tires. And Callum Anderson picks up another 5-second time penalty for corner cutting. And it looks like Casey G is going to stay out in front of this race. He's got a 10-second lead over V. Rita. We'll see if he pulls any time on that. Now we'll pick up Ozone Zero. Ozone has been on the intermediates for quite some time. Switched back into a new set of them. He's got 4 laps on these. Meanwhile, we've got these two, David Wallbank and Callum Anderson, can't seem to get away from each other. And a big slide there by David Wallbank. Charlie Sampson just picked up a 3-second time penalty. Corner cutting. So Ozone Zero moving in on Charlie Sampson now. They're both on intermediate tires, but Zero is on the fresher set. So now Ozone Zero is going to have the slipstream coming down the backstretch. Well, not quite the backstretch, but he'll be moving into the hairpin here. He's clearly a little bit faster. David Wallbank and Callum Anderson going back and forth still. Oh, and Zero trying to make a move down into the hairpin. Great defensive driving by Charlie Sampson to hold on to that 8th spot. it doesn't look like the DRS is enabled anymore, so Zero's not going to have that advantage. Oh, but look at that. Charlie Simpson's going to dive into the pits. So that's going to move Ozone Zero up into the 8th spot. So let's get a little bit of a grid reset here. Ben Gallagher just picked up a 3-second time penalty. KCG is still your leader. He's out on the medium tires. He's being pursued by V Rita. Now, V Rita has got that. Look at the big lockup on the left front, right rear. There you see he's going through. That is the ghost car of Harry Saunders, who rage quit. Looks like that's David Wallbank in front of him. Looks like he's got no wing. I'm sure he had an incident with Callum Anderson. Anderson running back in the, he comes into the pits as well. So these two continuing to fight like little kids amongst each other. KCG still out in front. V Rita running in second. Khalifa has just dived into the pits. And it looks like he might be switching over to a set of medium tires. So that's going to move Q-Tip up into the 4th spot. So the tire strategy is really getting mixed up here because we got KCG who has stayed out on the medium tires for a number of laps. Now V Rita is closing in on KCG with the intermediate tires, but we've just had Khalifa, who was on intermediate tires, has now come and switched over to mediums. So now Khalifa's going to be the staple. We're going to watch his times to see if his times fall and if he starts closing in on Epic the Animal. Epic has managed to work his way into the 5th spot, and he too is on intermediate tires. Ben Gallagher has also come out with a fresh set of mediums as well. So him and Khalifa, the two Mercedes, are going to be the ones to watch. A little bit of team strategy there. And now Charlie Sampson has dived into the pits, and it looks like he's going to throw on a set of hard tires. It might be a little much. Hards I don't think are going to work out too well. You don't have a lot of traction with them to begin with. Track temperature's low because of the conditions, the rain, the clouds. So hard tires, mediums would definitely be the way to go. This is really a sweet spot for medium tires as far as track temperature and ambient temperature goes. And it looks like Salmon Pike just lost a position to Q-Tip. And David Wallbank picks a 10-second time penalty for core cutting. And he's got wing damage once again. I'm sure him and Callum Anderson are not done fondling each other. Meanwhile, is that Epic? Did Epic get caught up in this again? And we've got ourselves a safety car. Probably for debris left out on track by Jackass 1 and Jackass 2. So it needs to be said, Callum Anderson, David Wallbank need to be banned for the rest of the season. It's not my fault, but they if it was me, they would be disqualified from this whole session and for the rest of the year. Luckily, it looks like that the cars are having a hard time recognizing each other on the track right now, so they can't take anybody else out. Well, thank God Anderson decided to crash. It's the one smart thing you've done all day. So Callum Anderson crashes out. Thank God. That's one less driver we need to worry about. Fozzie Wozzie will pick up another spot. Move herself into 13th in her pursuit of a championship point. Arden Senna, that 18-12, that's David Wallbank. He'll probably be disqualified from the session, so that'll move her into 12th. And Harry Saunders is AI, so Fozzie Wozzie technically has an 11th spot, 11th place finish that she's looking at. So if one more driver falls out of this race, she's looking at a championship point. Meanwhile, KCG is your leader. And we have ourselves a safety car with 11 laps remaining. So, see if everybody's done making their pit stops. Get ourselves a bit of a grid reset here. See if anybody else dives into the pit. The conditions of this race have been really interesting. And it does look like KCG has pitted for intermediates. He's been able to come out. It looks like everybody's done making their stops for the most part. So KCG is your leader. David Wallbank is retired from the session. Thank God. Retire from the league and do everybody else a favor. So KCG is your leader. He's followed by V Rita. They have both pitted for intermediate tires. Now Q-Tip will be the new staple as he has switched over from intermediates to softs. So he'll be on the soft tires in the sixth, starting in the third spot. Salmon Pike is back to the intermediates. Khalifa has swapped to mediums a couple of laps ago. Ozone Zero still running on those 10-lap-old intermediates. Epic the Animal just came in for a fresh set of intermediates. Ben Gallagher has been out on these 11-lap-old medium tires, making it work as he's running in the 8th spot. Gad is on intermediates along with Charlie Sampson. Harry Saunders' car is AI. He's not in the session. That leaves Fozzie Wazzie in the 13th spot, which will eventually become 12th, which will eventually become 11th. So, for what it's worth, she is in the 11th spot. So now we just need to wait for race control to bring in the safety car, and we'll have ourselves a 9-lap shootout. And Fozzie Wazzie has officially moved into the 12th spot through timing and scoring. Try and Catch has left the session. Now he crashed out a number of laps ago, so that's inconsequential. Started with 18 drivers. We're now down to 12 cars remaining on track, 11 drivers remaining in the session. Harry Saunders' car continues to circle the track, but he rage quit early on in this race. So he will not be credited with the 11th place finish or any points if his car happens to finish in the points. What an eventful afternoon. And the safety car is in this lap. That means KCG will become the control car. So championship rivals. KCG v Rita, first and second in points, first and second on track. Actually, Rita's first in championship point standings. Looks like KCG is on the gas. Where is Q-Tip in the midst of this? He's got a couple of lap cars in front of him. And we will see if Q-Tip can close in on this battle for the lead. It looks like we've got Epic making a move. Going into turn one, getting around Ozone Zero. Good on Epic. Now he's chomping at the bit, trying to get past Khalifa. And Khalifa picks up a 5-second time penalty for ignoring a yellow flag, which I don't think that there was a yellow flag. And Khalifa looks like he's struggling a little bit. I know he went off into the grass. Simon Pike picks up a 3-second time penalty. I would hate to be a steward after the race this has been. This is, along with all the time penalties, everything that's happened on track between a few drivers. Lots of stuff going on in the back here. You got this whole cluster of cars right here. You got a couple of lap cars, plus cars battling for position. Meanwhile, you got V. Rita closing in on KCG. These two pulling away 3.5 seconds out in front of Q-Tip. And Q-Tip's got Sam and Pike breathing down his neck. So that's going to be the battle of slicks versus intermediates. And they both run back-to-back fastest laps. It was first KCG, then it was V. Rita, 1:19. So they're back down to their wet qualifying times. Yellow flag sector 3. Who was that? Oh, and it's Ben Gallagher who's going around. And has he got it the right way going? Yes, he does, out in front. So these two are pulling a big gap on Q-Tip, so it doesn't look like the soft tires were the way to go. Ozzy Wazzy picks up a 3-second time penalty. That's inconsequential to her finishing spot right now. Big lockup on that right front. Oh, and Rita dragging the rear wheels as he's trying to put the power down, slides into the grass just a little bit. Oh, and Epic and Ozone side by side and now nose to tail. Oh, Epic wants that spot back. I know he does. Yellow flag sector 1. And another yellow flag in sector 1. Must be a couple of quick on-offs. Now we got a yellow flag sector 2. Not sure what that is in relation to. A couple of Red Bulls running together. It looks like that's where it was stemming from, but Epic still trying to find his way around Ozone Zero. V. Rita still trying to find his way around KCG, and now he is very close. Riding along with V. Rita as he continues to try and make that pass. Meanwhile, Epic is all over the back of Ozone Zero. And Rita now closing in all over the back of KCG. I'm trying to keep up with these two battles going on track, watching timing and scoring, getting lost in translation. Sam and Pike, so we've got 3 battles going on. First and second battling it out. Third and fourth battling it out. Fifth and sixth battling it out. 3 battles, all in the top 6 cars. Oh, and a good run coming out of the corner. KCG tries to run V. Rita all the way down to the corner and into the grass. Good defensive driver by KCG. Rita's going to tuck back in line. Meanwhile, you've got Sam and Pike moving in on Q-Tip. Behind that, you've got Epic and Ozone. 3 two-car battles amongst the top 6 drivers. What an amazing race. This is lap 31. Whoa, and KCG almost loses the back end. He almost pulled a Sebastian Vettel. And here comes V. Rita to pull a Jensen Button to take the win. He's going to get out in front. Battle for the lead. And V. Rita is going to capitalize on that. A rare mistake by KCG. And he is going to be kicking himself in the butt for that one. Meanwhile, here comes Salmon, Pike, and Q-Tip. Pike to the inside, late on the brakes. Q-Tip putting the power down with them soft tires. He's able to pull away on that outside. Meanwhile, Epic just made the move on Ozone, getting around him, heading into the hairpin. And now Epic and Ozone are closing in on that battle for the 3rd spot. And KCG has fallen off a second to V. Rita. So he tried his best for as long as he could. Now, time penalties could be an issue. And obviously, at the end of this race, they are going to be very, very, very unofficial results, considering everything that has happened on track today. And again, KCG struggling with the back end of that Alfa Romeo. It looks like Epic has separated himself from Ozone Zero, and he's starting to catch up to Salmon Pike. So there's a 3-car battle starting to materialize for this 3rd spot. And Epic just picked up a 3-second time penalty, but I think Epic is at the point where time penalties be damned. He wants to come across the line as high up in this running order as he can make it. And it looks like Q-Tip really blew the corner that time. Salmon Pike and Epic both get out in front, so a 2-for-1 deal gone wrong because it's the wrong way. Q-Tip lost 2 positions in 1 corner. And now Epic finds himself on the cusp of trying to get a podium finish. What has been a recovery drive since being punted early on by Callum Anderson, being taken out later on by accident by David Wallbank and Callum Anderson's shenanigans. Epic to the inside, now to the outside. Ozone Zero is just pitted for a fresh set of softs. That's going to move Khalifa into the 7th spot. Gad up to 6th. Maybe trying to... Whoa, and a big moment there for Salmon Pike. Coming out of that corner, big wiggle out of the car. Gallagher just picked up a 3-second time penalty. Why am I going to look out the back of the car, Codemasters? The battle's in front of me. Ooh, and Epic to the inside. They're side by side. It's not going to work. Pike taking the more defensive line as they head down into the hairpin. Ooh. Epic trying to get the power down. He's right there. Pike almost ran him into the grass. Epic had to back out of it just a little bit. The penultimate lap of this race has started. V. Rita out in front now to the tune of 2.9 seconds. KCG put up a valiant effort to try and hang on to that top spot. KCG losing out to that. V. Rita making the pass on him a couple of laps ago. We're watching the battle for 3rd spot between Salmon Pike and Epic the Animal. And again, time penalties will be a factor. I would hate to be a steward at the end of this race. I mean, Sippy was the host. He left. That created a migrating host, which also caused the majority of the cars to pick up a 5-second time penalty, which all had to be served or not served. It could be assessed at the end of this race. And a yellow flag, sector 2 and 3. Looks like that might be one of the Mercedes as Epic makes a move. Oh, and now Epic finds himself on the outside of that chicane there. What is this? Ben Gallagher? Looks like Ben Gallagher's trying to get going here. Epic still trying to find a way around Salmon Pike. And you can just hear the wheel spin, just dragging the wheels, trying to come out of that hairpin and get the power down. What an eventful race for just about everyone involved. Three-second time penalty for Epic, and he clips the wall of champions, knocks out the end plate on the right front of the front wing. And it is the final lap of this race, and these two have not stopped yet. Who's going to get the third spot? And it looks like Ben Gallagher has had to dive back into the pits. Here on the last lap, things are going to get mixed up here at the end of this race with timing and scoring. A big slide from Salmon Pike coming out of that corner once again. Ooh, and another big slide, and now Epic side by side. He's got a good run heading down into the hairpin. Salmon's going to try and outbrake him. Meanwhile, we'll show it really quick. Here comes V. Rita. He's going to come across the line. Oh no, and Fozzie Wozzie retires from the session. She crashes into the wall of champions on the last lap. Fozzie Wozzie out of this race. V. Rita comes across the line, followed by Casey G. Here comes Epic the Animal. He does manage to get third spot coming down. But here comes Salmon Pike. It's a drag race down the front stretch. Who's got it? And Epic is going to get it on timing penalties. Q-Tip's going to come across the line. And he's going to jump into fourth because of timing penalties. Gad is sixth. Khalifa comes across in seventh. Unbelievable. Ozone is eighth. Ben Gallagher will be ninth. And Charlie Sampson's going to round out the 10 cars left. Too bad for Fozzie Wozzie. She would have been credited with an 11th place finish. She crashes out at the Wall of Champions as V. Rita came through. So V. Rita, once again, picking up another win. That is his sixth win of the season. He'll be able to extend his championship points as this season winds down. KCG, with his seventh podium finish of the year, keeps himself in contention for the championship. So here are your unofficial results. V. Rita with another win, KCG with another podium. Epic the Animal hangs on for a podium finish. Hard fought, well deserved. Q-Tip is fourth, Salmon Pike is fifth, Gad is sixth, Khalifa is seventh, Ozone 0 is eighth, Ben Gallagher ninth, Charlie Sampson is 10th. That rounds out your top 10 points paying positions. Harry Saunders will get credited with 11th, even though he was not in the car. He rage quit early on. 12th through 18th are all DNFs. That's Fozzie Wozzie, David Wallbank, Callum Anderson, SHR Ninja, PMP Try and Catch, Invictus, and Sippy. And this has been an amazing race. So guys, what can I say? At a crazy race today, lots going on. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment to the YouTube channel. Get caught up on all the other races from previously in the season. Next week will be round 10 at France, Paul Ricard circuit, where I'm sure things will be crazy once again. This has been the HTA RL Hit the Apex Racing League. This has been the assists tier, and this has been round 9 Canada. I'm KAMIKAZE-FOX. Be sure to check us out again next week. Same HTA RL time, same HTA RL channel. We will see you all at the next round.